I want to take a few moments to share with you some of the successes that the I Am Melanin Magic hair brand is having. Jimmy here, along with his father, had been dealing with hair loss presenting as bald patches and thinning throughout his hair for over 10 years. He decided, by way of his girlfriend, to give I Am Melanin Magic a try. With consistent use of the I Am Melanin Magic Magical Hair Growth Serum, using it 5 days a week for 8 weeks, these are the results that he was able to get. I am Melanin Magic, and so are you. Welcome to Tanisha's Locs Beauty Tips and Potpourri. I'm going to try this again. I just filmed a 25-minute video which did not record. We are going to be doing tonight's broadcast as sound, as audio only. I want to share some of the comments and provide some guidance or some recommendations or even a response to some of the comments that are in the comment section. Before I even begin, I want to give all of you a huge hug, a show of gratitude, and express my appreciation for your ongoing support of Tanisha's Locs Beauty Tips and Potpourri, otherwise known as I Am Melanin Magic, and so are you. For those of you who support the brand, for those of you who continue to put your testimonial information in the comment section here on the channel, as well as on the website, I appreciate you. Many of you send your commentaries and photos to my telephone, which is fine as well. I will continue to ask you to please return to the site and put some of your stories on the website. I appreciate all of you. Before we dig in, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, like it, or share the video, subscribe, and definitely put some stuff in the comment section. All right. We had a comment, and I know I'm going to lose some of the comments that I had before because some of them have disappeared thanks to the fact that the recording did not allow me to respond and then move on without giving you a heart, which means the comment disappears. So some of the feedback that I gave from some of the other comments, it's just impossible for me to recapture that. But I did a short recently that I said, who is an excellent candidate for knotted locks? And Miss Melissa Blake's commented, is simply another option, sis, a great practice into not rushing, not stressing, and simply celebrating where our African textured hair is at. It's for those who want to let go, to naturally connect with our hair's wants. Honored, sis. Your knotted locks are looking happy and healthy. And I'm going to say that over and over and over again. Some of you are looking for a dissertation on knotted locks. Some of you are looking to see what will be the precise process that will be the outcome. And I don't know how to stress enough to you with love that it's not that kind of party. Knotted locks is a mindset. It is about freeing your hair. It is about doing what is healthy for your hair. If you are considering leaving Sisterlocks because your hair is thinning, you've had lost locks, it's balding, you're seeing more scalp at this stage of the game, to be quite frank with you, what your locks are going to look like should be the least of your concerns when you have me, other women I've brought to the channel, and Miss Blake's telling you that your locks are going to be fine. You've seen countless pictures. That should be the least of your concerns. What should be your concern is how much longer you're going to have locks in your head if you keep doing what you're doing. That's for those people who believe that the rituals associated with the hairstyle that they have, Sisterlocks, and your loctician, if you happen to believe that what your hair has endured is accounting for at least half of the issues you're having with your hair, then you've got to move out of the mindset of thinking that what you see on someone else's hair is how your locks are going to turn out. I can tell you this till the cows come home. Everyone told me with Sisterlocks that my hair was going to lock by a certain time, that I was going to have mature locks by another certain date. I could still take out my locks before 5 years. My locks didn't even compress until 5 years and beyond. My texture, my hair has 4 different textures in my head. Each of those textures present with a different looking type of lock or a type of knot. And each of those areas, because of the changes in my hair and the differences in my strand and the individual ways in which my hair chooses to express itself, looks different. And I'm pleased with the different things that my hair is doing. I put my knots in different ways, leaving certain amounts of space and then closing those gaps because I am experimenting with what my hair will do. I want to see how my hair will develop under certain conditions. So I'm trying a lot of different things. The only thing you need to understand with knotted locks at a very base level is that you're not going to have a grid, that you're going to be putting a knot. You know what a knot is. You're going to be putting a knot in your hair. You're going to be doing the very thing that you've been indoctrinated and brainwashed not to do all of the years that you've had Sisterlocks, which is why it is going to be pointless for you to ask your Sisterlocks loctician about knotted locks. Because knotted locks is a do-it-yourselfer process that Miss Blakes is committed to giving us options. Up to this point, as far as I've been told and understand, at least up till now, she is not interested in training people in any way to be doing this in salons. This is something to help those of you whose heads are in trouble. This is something to help those of you who have a vision for what feels right for your hair. This is something to help those of you who are ready to make the evolutionary jump beyond a system that requires that you follow rules, that requires that you commit what I'm beginning to call, in some cases, hair atrocities against your loving tresses. For those of you who have decided that you want to be able to play a major role, if not the sole role, in your hair care narrative, in your hair care story, in your hair's destiny. For those of you who recognize that your hair needs a break and that what you have been currently doing is hurting your hair. This is for those people with that mindset. When I look at the shorts that Miss Blakes puts out, well, mind you, let me backtrack and tell you, I didn't need to see the pictures. All I needed to do was hear about this and listen to her talk and listen to the way in which she connects with her hair. This woman is gifted. Okay, she's gifted and she knows what she's talking about. Once I heard the call, it was like the day of judgment for me. Yom Kiyama, once I heard the call, it was like Angel Gabriel with that trumpet. When I heard the call and I heard her speaking, I got on the phone right away because I was already fed up with Sisterlocks. I love them for what they did for me, but I was not supposed to stay stuck, especially when I began to witness firsthand the stories that some of you have, the horror stories. Especially when I had my own concerns for the last few years. I didn't need to know what was going to happen, what would my locks look like if I didn't have a grid. I could care less about that because my concern was, what is my head going to look like when I lose my locks? What is my head going to look like if my locks start thinning and they continue to thin? What is my head going to look like if I keep doing the very thing that I innately and within my soul feel is not good for my hair? What's going to happen when I'm at the bridge point, or I'm at the breaking point, or I'm at that particular time in my journey with my Sisterlocks and I recognize the hair loss or the thinning has begun and it becomes something that moves across my head? Because by the time you start recognizing thinning, it's already started. It's been entrenched. It's already going to move around your head by the time you start noticing it. And my hair deserved better and I deserve better. And I needed to be in control of my hair. And I didn't want to be a victim of the tyranny of hair enslavement. I didn't want to have to be trying to continue doing my own retightenings and taking 12 hours out of my schedule. I don't have that kind of time. Now I can do a knotted locks relocking in an hour and a half, depending upon what I'm working on. And I'm done until the next time I want to sit down. Or if I want to do it all at one time, 2.5 hours, if that. And it feels like a therapy session. So for me, it was about the health of my hair and the longevity of this style and maximizing the number of years that I can have this style. That's what it's about for me. I didn't care about the grid, but I never worshiped the grid from the beginning. You all know that if you know me and you've listened to me talk on the channel. So the grid was not a big deal to me because that grid is forcing your hair to stay in that grid, which means those parts means that hair is not going to grow in those parts. So as your hair starts thinning and you're trying to maintain the grid, more and more scalp is going to show. And so I had no problem recognizing that I want my hair to grow all over. I want it to grow in the parts. I want to stimulate my hair to do what it would naturally do. And then I just want to allow it to pull into either a new lock that may form, because I have 2 brand new locks, mind you, or pull into a lock that is nearer to it, that it organically is moving towards. I didn't need the grid, and neither do you. I didn't need those retightenings. I didn't need the tension. I didn't need to be on the sidelines and watch you all, okay, and see the train wreck that happened to many of us that was extremely traumatic, and then walk right onto the railroad tracks. I didn't need to do that. So if you have a lot of questions, you need to call Miss Melissa and see if you can resonate with what her message is. If you don't resonate, it's not time for you to make that leap yet. You may need more time, but if you do resonate, it's going to be an easy decision. When you look at her videos, when you listen to some of the people talk, who I know I brought at least one lady on the channel who I did an interview with, and I'll be bringing more, the locks look the same. They're happy. They look the same. I even thought in the beginning I was going to see some dramatic difference between my Sisterlock and these. I'm not seeing that yet. I'm multiple months into this. Okay? My locks look different in areas of my hair where there's thicker locks, where there's a different grade of hair. My locks and the knots and their traction and their ability to actually lock and embed themselves is different depending upon what area of my hair. I'm also would go so far as to say the way that I did the knot also has some sort of impact. I'm studying this down to a science. And what I have found is that there are no 2 fingerprints that are the same. There are no 2 hair strands or areas of your hair that are the same. There are no 2 people that have the same experience and the same look. And so you got to go into this with an open mind. You have to go into this relaxed. You have to go into this with the belief that you're doing it because you want to keep your beautiful small locks, your Microlocks or your Sisterlocks, excuse me. You want your hair to be healthy. You have to go into it understanding that African textured hair locks. I don't care if you use a crochet needle, I don't care if you braid it, I don't care if you add hair to it, I don't care if you use a tool, I don't care if you interlock it, if you Sisterlock it, if you microlock it, if you palm roll it. You have African textured hair, it's gonna lock. So if you have a small lock and you put knots in them using the knotted lock system, your hair is going to lock and it's still going to be small. And because it's small, you're still going to be able to style it and do the things that you like to do with your hair. And all of the pictures that I've seen since I had my hair done, they look beautiful to me. And I have the type of hair texture that my interlocking pattern never showed up in all of my locks anyway from the very beginning. My hair started to do things and started to change. And that's why I say everybody's hair is going to look different. You can't even judge a Sisterlocks picture and assume that that's how your hair is going to look. Knotted locks fundamentally is going to be the same way. Your hair is going to knot and it's going to do what your hair does, what your hair loves to do. Your hair is going to be free. Your hair is water loving. It's going to get all the water it needs. Your hair is oil loving. It's going to get all the oil that it needs. But your hair is going to look like the beautiful creation that is your hair. So don't worry about that part. Don't worry about that part at all. So I also have LL, who in her comment says she had her knotted locks training yesterday and she transitioned with Melissa. Yay. Shout out to you, LL. So many of you are contacting me. Melissa's giving me a long list of names. This is several weeks old of those of you who have transitioned over. I feel you're going to be happy and satisfied like many of the other sisters that I've talked to who've had knotted locks for over a year and beyond. And they are ecstatic and their hair looks beautiful. And they've arrested a lot of hair loss, okay? I have Blessed Diva 7712, who says, I've had my Sisterlocks for almost years and I'm over it. I want to have more control over my hair. I'm just ready to start interlocking at this point. I may even find someone to combine them into big, larger locks if I can. I feel you. I'm not sure about the specificity in terms of what it is that has really tried and tested your patience, but I understand the need to want to shift and need to want to have more control over your hair. And that's one of the reasons why I took the leap. The retie madness that was talked about by Locs out in Los Angeles. G-O-D, as in God, gold or God, and then Locs. Locs. Which is Miss Dee, who has her shop out in California, is amazing. Her handle on Instagram is Goldilocks1. So if you're trying to get in touch with her, Goldilocks1 on Instagram. She was in one of my shorts talking about the wisdom that you bring as the wearer of your hair and the one who has the most intimate knowledge about your hair care story. And that should never be overshadowed by the person that is the loctician just because they have the skill. See, they're bringing the skill to the table. You're bringing the story to the table and the wisdom and the intuition to the table. That trumps the skill. So she encourages you to have locticians that take into consideration your individual needs. She goes so far as to say you may find that certain locks don't need retightening because they're not growing as fast and other locks do. This is the type of approach that you need. We need an individualized, customized approach to your hair care story. You cannot be put on a particular plan because someone is determined that this is how often you need to come in. It's more recently coming to my attention that people are charging almost $200 and $300 to come in every 3 to 4 weeks. So now, where it used to be 6 to 8 weeks, then it was 4 to 6. Now we got some 3 to 4 week people saying that you need to be maybe considering getting retightenings every 3 to 4 weeks. And I tell you, if that makes sense to you right now, go ahead and do that. But you should do it with this caveat in mind. While you may not be able to see the up close and immediate damage of doing that, the cumulative effect over time is going to be enormous. And for many of you who've chosen to participate in those type of counterintuitive retightening schedules, by the time the cumulative effect of your hair loss or thinning is realized, I hope that it's not too late. If it doesn't feel right to you when you're getting your retightenings, whether it's the frequency, the tension, the amount of hair that is being left out in terms of how tight it is to your scalp, whatever it is, you need to rethink what it is you're doing, or you need to rethink the loctician that you have, and you need to put some time, effort, and faith into finding someone who resonates more with what you feel your hair needs and takes into consideration what you believe and know for a fact is best for your hair because of your own personal experience. That's something that I think is worth seriously considering. I have comments in here where many of you talk about some of the pain. One of you, SP-DL4UW, said, I just decided to find another loctician today after getting my first retie and being in agony for the past few days. Now I'm very interested in this knotted locks process. That's serious. Not agony for an hour after or during, which is bad enough because over time the cumulative effect of that, when that climax is out, there's going to be a consequence. But not a day after. Okay, not 2 days after, but a few days have passed and she's been in agony. Not sore, not redness, not pain, but agony, which is an escalation beyond pain. That's serious. Don't think for a second that follicles were not damaged. Don't think for a second that the very foundation of the parts of her hair anatomy that are responsible for growth and regrowth and the overall strength and flexibility and resilience of her hair have not been affected. That is serious. You've got to talk to your loctician. You've got to find another one. You have to take over your reties. You have to give your hair a break. You have to supplement with oils. You have to make sure your hair is getting moisture. You have to make sure your hair is getting water, or you need to move to knotted locks. If you can't find a remedy and you're still dealing with these very serious problems, you need to reconsider your options. I want you to know that you have options. Are knotted locks for everyone? No. Knotted locks is a mindset. You got to be in a certain mindset, and you got to be ready to get off the hair plantation to some degree, meaning the laws you have to follow, the regimentation, the lack of control over your own hair, the being forced into these rituals that most of you don't agree with. You have to be willing and ready to say, I can't do that anymore. I don't want to be enslaved from or enslaved to a process that when I first had them installed, I was trying to get away from. Sisterlocks freed me. It freed me from hair relaxers and all of this other stuff. But I didn't get the hairstyle to then later begin to feel as though I was enslaved and I couldn't make decisions over my own hair. Thank goodness for Ifraj and Neka, who have a more open mind when it came to what my hair needed. But you got to make the decisions that are best for you. All right. And finding another loctician oftentimes is what many of us have to do. So we've gotten a lot of really one-on-one comments from a lot of you all in the comment section. I'm going to read the last comment from Fawn M. Fawn M, I think you left several comments in successive videos back to back, but I definitely want to call this one out and share this one with the group. I really appreciate this video. I started my Sisterlocks journey in June, and while I love them, I absolutely hate the retie process. It hurts. It's like Neka said in the interview I did with her a couple of months ago, which is my loctician, Sisterlocks loctician located in Atlanta. Her and Ifraj both have been in charge of my hair over the years, in addition to my self-appointment, which is me having done my own hair at different intervals. Both of them, Neka talks, and specifically in her video, about the fact that it shouldn't hurt. She also shed some light on the fact that historically, we as women, especially women of the African diaspora, Black women in particular, have come to just accept that getting our hair done should be a painful process, and that our hair is tough and it's coarse and all of this. And she breaks that down, being a master cosmetologist, and she sheds light on the fact that our hair is actually very tender, soft, and it's very fragile, and it needs to be handled with care and love. And that you should feel as though your hair, your locks, your tresses are being loved on. Not that crimes against tresses and crimes against humanity are being committed on your hair when you go to get your hair done. And that it should not hurt. And if that loctician is hurting your hair and you've brought it to her attention, then you've got to find a loctician consultant who understands what your hair needs and understands what you need as a client. There is no reason to continue to sit in a chair and endure pain and have to go home and take pills and to be in pain and have your eyes squinched out because the locks are so tight around your head, and to relive the painful memories of a past that is no longer necessary. We don't have to have pain when we get our hair done. And when I tell you knotted locks has never hurt, I don't feel that I've done anything to my hair. It is a wonderful, beautiful process, and it has reminded me that our hair is beautiful. Our hair deserves tenderness. Our hair deserves love. And we have the ability to take charge over our hair care destiny. So it should not hurt. And when it begins to hurt, I love that train. It comes by like every hour. When it begins to hurt, you have to begin to look for another way to get what you want in terms of a hairstyle, but also protect your hair, because I can assure you long term, this is not something that's going to be good for you, okay? So continue to, listen to the stories. I'll be bringing more people on the channel over the next few months and years. I'm committed to this, to share with you their particular journeys with regard to whatever they may choose for their hair, because Knotted Locks is not for everyone. It's for certain people who are ready to make the transition and who are invested in letting their hair express itself, and who are invested in the health of their hair, and who believe that their hair needs water, that their hair needs oil, that their hair needs tenderness. Some people may not be ready to make the leap, and that's fine, which is why I will continue to serve my Sisterlocks sisters here on the channel, because I had Sisterlocks for 13 years. And I can tell you a whole heck of a lot about them. Not to mention that many of you have shared your stories with me. And I've done a lot of research, and I'm committed to that. And there was a time where Sisterlocks was a saving grace for me. It was until it wasn't. And that's the only thing that we all have to remember. Something is until it isn't anymore. And when it isn't anymore, that's when you have to begin to recognize that you do have options, that you do have alternatives. You're with Tanisha Ali of Tanisha's Locks, Beauty Tips, and Potpourri. Please give this video a thumbs up. Share with me in the comment section if you have already transitioned to Knotted Locks. Please give me a shout out and give me your name in the comment section. If you are considering it, let me know that as well. For those of you who still have your Sisterlocks, if you have ideas for videos or things you want me to talk more about, please let me know. I most definitely will keep that in mind as well. I love you. Show up in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all of you. Lots of love to you. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening. Bye.